Coleman Flaherty. I'm with White Collar Consultant Boston. It's March 23rd, 2023. And just wanted to make this quick video today, talk a little bit about myself and my company. Again, it's White Collar Consult. We're a crisis management sentence mitigation company based out of Boston. I myself, from Boston originally, and back in 2012, was charged with securities fraud and two other related felonies. I'm a former defendant in the District of Massachusetts, charged by the Economics Crime Unit involved with a penny stock pump and dump. So back in 2012, I was in the business of operating several stock promotion websites to help promote penny stocks for third parties. A third party is someone that owns company stock but is not an insider in the company. Prior to that, I was a registered stockbroker for 17 years, worked down in Wall Street for 5 years, got into the penny stock business back in 2007, 2008. So owned and operated 4 different companies, promotional websites, and then right around 2008, 2009, along with a partner, started becoming not the provider, the service provider. I started becoming the client myself, meaning myself and my partner took 6 companies public on bulletin board and pink sheets through a process called reverse merger. Simply taking a public shell that has no operating business in it, merging a private company into it, and making that private company now public. And the way that we benefited or got paid from that was we owned all of the free trading shares in the public companies. And what we would do is hire third-party stock promoters to go out and promote these companies. We would write press releases that weren't always accurate or true, with the intent to increase the volume and the price of the stock so we could sell the stock, and that's how we made money. And that's ultimately what we were charged for back in 2012 is when I was approached, and later pled guilty, I believe, in 2014. So 2012, arrive at my office in the morning, getting ready for another day of work. FBI waiting for me, and 2 agents telling me that they would like to talk with me upstairs and just have a brief conversation. We went upstairs, and at that point asked me if I had known about one of the companies that I promoted, which of course I did. And then agents at that point told me that I was looking at roughly 9 years in prison. So you can imagine at 5 o'clock in the morning, 2 days after Easter 2012, it's a pretty shocking event. I was experiencing a tremendous amount of anxiety and fear, and they had said at that point that they would offer me an opportunity to plead guilty and cooperate to mitigate my potential sentence, which right away I knew that that's what I needed to do. But I told them at that point I needed to talk to my attorney, and my attorney would be back in touch with them. So later that day, my attorney had contacted the agent and called me back and said the situation looks not that bad. We're going to meet tomorrow with the AUSA, with the Assistant U.S. Attorney, and I'll have more information. Gave me a little bit of ease, saying that it looks like it's not that bad. And the next day, after meeting with the FBI and AUSA, he called me and said it's a lot worse than what I had thought, and they think that they have enough information to put you in jail for 9 years. So I went to my attorney's office, had a brief meeting with him. I don't know if they had the charging documents, but they had documents drawn up that would kind of imply what I would be getting charged with if I decided to move forward and plead not guilty. So we went over to the courthouse to have the meeting with the AUSA, and upon getting to the courthouse door, he said the meeting today is called a proffer, and I had never heard that term before. A lot of terms during this process I had never heard. So he said, this is a meeting with the government, and they're going to ask you a lot of questions. And keep in mind, they already know the answers to all the questions, or most of them. So if you lie, the meeting is immediately over. There's no cooperation. You'll probably be arrested the next day, and you'll be charged with further crimes. So he said, whatever happens today, just don't lie. So I knew going into the meeting, no matter what they asked me, I was going to tell the truth. And I'll talk about what a proffer is, the advantages, disadvantages in another video that I have coming out shortly. So went to the AUSA's office, met the prosecutor that would be prosecuting me, went into the room, myself, my attorney, probably a combination of 10 to 12 FBI agents and U.S. attorneys. Very intimidating, very scary, but I got through it fine. And then afterwards, I agreed that I was going to plead guilty. Verbally, I told them I'd plead guilty and then cooperate with them. And then went off really the next day to the FBI office, started doing a meet and greet there and talk about what cooperation would look like. When we went into the proffer, my attorney said this is probably going to last about a year, and we're going to try to get you the best possible sentence. My cooperation lasted almost 5 years. So it was a huge chunk out of my life. It was 5 years of nonstop anxiety, worry. It took a huge emotional toll on myself, on my family, on everybody around me, on my friends. It was the worst experience of my life, but I got through it. And when the FBI approached me, and when I later had the meeting with my attorney, they explained to me that my sentencing guidelines were 78 to 97 months, so roughly 9 years in prison. I was sentenced in June of 2017 to 1 year of home confinement. So with my guilty plea, with my restitution that I paid, with my cooperation, with my extensive mitigation work, the work that I did, the hard work that I did to make myself look better to the prosecutors and the judge, to prove to them that I was trying to change, that I was trying to do better, that I was trying to create a new track record, and they wouldn't see me in their court again. By doing all that work, I feel like I was awarded a sentence of 1 year home confinement. I did not have to go to prison. Now, I was told later by someone in the government that I received one of the largest departures in the history of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Boston. I don't know that for a fact, but I was told that. And that was all a result of my cooperation, my hard work, and I had a great attorney that worked really hard for me and advocated for me. So my story was a success, and what I do today is I work with people that are in a similar position that I was in, people that have been visited by the FBI, that have received a target letter, an opportunity to cooperate. They've been arrested, they've been indicted, all of the above. Men and women, I work with them today and guide them through the federal criminal justice system. We work with sentence mitigation. We help people prepare for the hurdles that lead up to sentencing, and we have helped people in the past gain substantially better results. I feel there's a lot of things that a defendant can do to influence the outcome of the sentence. My first attorney had told me, these are the sentencing guidelines. This is what the government is going to ask for. Just do what you need to do along the way and let me do the job in court, and we'll hope for the best possible outcome. That's not the approach I took. I took the approach that I was going to create a track record for both the prosecutor and the judge to look at and influence them to, if possible, to give me the lowest possible sentence. And that was the outcome with me. So that's what I try to talk about when I meet someone today that is in a similar situation to where I was back in 2012. There's a lot of things that you can do to influence the outcome of the sentence. People don't always get probation, they rarely get probation, but in most cases, people get a lower sentence than what they were initially looking at when they were approached or arrested and indicted. So if you have any questions about the criminal justice system, I've been through it all. I've been visited by FBI. I've signed a plea agreement. I've pled guilty in a Rule 11 hearing. I've had the probation interview, the pre-sentence interview leading to the pre-sentence report. I've met with the marshals. I've been fingerprinted. I've been pictured by the marshals. I've testified for 13 days at a federal trial at the courthouse in Boston under cross-examination and direct examination of very aggressive attorneys. I've had my own sentencing hearing. I've worked on my own character reference letters. I've worked on a speech to the judge. I've had 1 year of home confinement. I've dealt with probation. I've dealt with drug testing. I've dealt with wearing an ankle monitor. I've been through every situation in the federal criminal justice system, except and thankfully going to prison, which I have team members on my staff that have been to every major security level in the federal prison system that handle that for me. So if you have any questions about any of these events or anything involving the federal criminal justice system, I'll put my contact down below. Feel free to give me a call. I'm happy to discuss any of these with you.